Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard, and I'm so pleased to be a contributor here on African Diaspora News Channel. As you come in, please make sure that you like, that you share, and that you subscribe. Thank you so very much. Family, we have an interesting story, the Battle of the Boulets. Surely you know who Van Jones is of CNN and Sonny Hostin of ABC's The View. Well, Van Jones took a little, had a little interview with The View, and apparently, Sonny Hostin was not feeling him and was feeling some kind of way is what she was feeling. Watch this clip.
Now, Van, you do spend a lot of time, threading the middle and trying to unite people. But there are those who really accuse you of being a political opportunist, a chameleon, so to speak, who provided racial cover for former disgraced, twice impeached President Trump. You said this, and I quote, "Donald Trump, and I get beat up by liberals every time I say this, but I'm going to keep saying it. He has done good stuff for the black community, opportunity zone stuff, black college stuff. There's a side to Donald Trump that I think he does not get enough credit for." Yet, just recently, you cried on CNN when Joe Biden was elected the 46th president, and you said, "It's easier to be a parent now. Character matters now. Truth matters." You even mentioned George Floyd and said a lot of people felt they couldn't breathe. People in the black community don't trust you anymore. What is your response?
I don't think that's true. The entire quote I said was that Trump has done a lot of good stuff he doesn't get credit for. And then I went on to say the reason I didn't get credit for it is because he's done all this horrific stuff, said all this horrific stuff, and it completely erases what he's done. But what happens is social media will take the clip, but they won't show the full context. And so what I will say is this. My entire life has been about bringing people together to solve tough problems for people at the very bottom who don't have anything. I've spent 25 years fighting against the prison system. I have helped to close 5 abusive prisons. And by working with Republicans at the local, state, and federal level, and yes, including the Trump administration, I have helped to pass 18 bipartisan bills. We got 14,000 people out of the federal prison system with the First Step Act and more to come. We got 70,000 human beings who were suffering in jails and prisons under COVID, released under compassionate release, working with Republicans and Democrats. Black Lives Matter, math matters too. 80% of black folks are locked up in states that are run in part or whole by Republicans, red states and purple states. So when you can pass a law, as my team has done, in a Louisiana, in a Georgia, in California, Michigan, red states, blue states, and purple states, to get people home, the people behind bars are not sitting up here worried saying, "Get me out of prison, Van," or whatever you do, don't talk to a Republican. They say, "Get me out of prison." And I am proud of the fact that my team at the Reform Alliance, Dream Corps, and Cut 50 have been able to work with anybody to get folks home. At a certain point, we got to stop focusing on rhetoric and look at results. People may not like everything I have said on television, but I try to be balanced. But look at what I've done. Who among my critics have been able to get people together to help folks at the bottom? When we fight like this about everything, and you can't give anybody even a little bit of credit for anything, who hurts is not the politicians, it's not the pundits, it's regular folks who don't have anything, people who can't vote because they're in jail. We have to put their interests first. I'm never going to apologize for putting the interests of people at the bottom first. People need champions. Whoever's in that White House, I've got a responsibility to go in there and advocate and try to get people home out of prison. I'm going to keep doing it, whoever's in that White House.
Oh, we're back. You're finished? We'll have more with Van Jones when we come back.
Right. Did y'all catch all that shade? Now, the ironic thing is this is Sonny Hostin. I thought it's supposed to be sunshine and stuff. It's supposed to be sunny outside. Sonny is throwing all this shade. She invoked him crying. And Van Jones has a long history of crying all the time. He doesn't cry about the pandemic. He doesn't cry about even the powerful prison reform that he's a part of. Van breaks down about white supremacy, racism, and the fact that Trump was either elected or that Trump, thank God, was not reelected. And I say thank God, meaning that's what he's thinking. Because both of them white supremacists. Watch this. So in this clip, you see where Sonny tells him, the black community doesn't trust you. Well, I think that there's probably some truth to that because of how he's played footsie with Trump. But the reality is, Sonny got some nerve because we don't trust her either. Sonny is up there doing all kinds of intersectionality, confusing the issue of being black first with every other people group's issue, every other entity, every other agenda but ours. And not only that, Sonny has attacked powerful black masculine men like Minister Farrakhan, just like Van Jones has done the exact same thing where he's attacked Minister Farrakhan and then don't say anything about your other fellow CNN colleagues that say something. So we're not trying to hear from either one of you. Sonny thinks that because she asked Bernie Sanders about reparations, that the black grassroots fool with her. We don't fool with you. We know you were asking that question because that was the hot topic. You are part of the Democratic establishment, and the Democratic establishment can't stand Bernie Sanders. The only issue that you could catch him up on where he would be very hostile was on reparations, and Bernie proved exactly that. Some of y'all consider Bernie to be good white folks because Bernie believe in universal health care for everybody. I believe in that too. He believes in free education for everybody, free everything for everybody. But if you ask Bernie Sanders' funny looking self about reparations just for black people, he will look at you and all but cuss you out. Reparations for black people are a uniting issue to the contrary amongst Democrats, Republicans, and independents alike. But what is so fascinating is that you're seeing these internal wars, and Van made some interesting points later when he was talking about his work that he's been doing with the prison release and all this kind of stuff, and he'll work with any Republican. This wasn't just about you working with just any Republican. You know full and doggone well that you have a very problematic history with trying to placate and equalize us with the oppressor. Van, and Van is a swirler and stuff. That's his business. Okay, fine. But you are wanting us to ignore almost 500 years of unrelenting, unabated, white supremacist hell, oppression, and torture so that you can go redeem members of the dominant society. When we're trying to say, just let them be who they've been for 500 years, and you need to spend that disproportionate energy, Van, that you're trying to refurbish white supremacy, spend that energy on black empowerment. Somebody talk black to me. You'll get more credit and more legitimacy, Van, if you appear to be about these grassroots issues. And it's clear that you're not. These are people that I keep calling these promised land rejects. You guys want us to be accustomed to bondage. Remember, there was a group of people, the group that's written about in scripture, which is really you, black men and black women in America, that's your style, that's the Egyptians in scripture. It's really you because the Bible speaks in algorithm, it speaks in code, and you have to decode it properly. We're the only people that fits that description that's been in bondage to any foreign land for over 400 years. But watch this. Nevertheless, it was made clear in this prophetic rendering that those to whom Moses and Aaron came to deliver turned around and started to attack the deliverers. And they went so far as to say, if we had only died in Egypt. They basically was threatening a revolt and to go and in order to go back to Egypt. They wanted to make do in that difficult and oppressive circumstance. They wanted us to learn to live with those conditions, just like some of you want us to learn to live with these oppressive conditions in America. You don't want white supremacy to go all the way away, or enough to where at least black folks are rulers of their lives and in a more dominant position in terms of self-determination and black liberation. You want us to get accustomed to and become well-rounded in ducking and jiving and, jabbing and what do y'all call them boxing techniques where you got to be adept at moving because you don't know what jab white supremacy going to throw each day. No, we're not even trying to be in no ring. every day, all the time. And that's exactly what Van offers. But Sonny Hostin, black folks, the black grassroots don't fool with you either, girl. We don't fool with you either. I just find it's fascinating now that the black Blvd, who had all kinds of content and all kinds of stuff because Trump was so horrific, they was all on call. But now that Biden is in there, y'all doing stuff. Y'all got to switch up the narrative and do little stuff to stay hot in the media. But see, both Sonny and Van, y'all got pimps. You got pimps with the Democratic Party, and you some kind of political prostitute when you got two pimps, and you got a pimp with the corporate media that you work for. CNN for Van and ABC's The View for Sonny. Y'all got two pimps. I was saying this earlier about what kind of schedule y'all running. I mean, do you work for Pimp A on Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays? Pimp B on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and then you take Saturday off for half a day of Saturday and go back? I mean, how do you do that? Do you do split shifts? Y'all ain't fooling nobody. Y'all ain't fooling nobody, and we're not going with one of y'all over the other. Because, Sonny, you sit up every day with a white supremacist that is Meghan McCain, and you don't talk about the details of what really goes on with her and her family and stuff. You don't really call her out for white supremacy and the other shenanigans. Y'all tiptoe around each other, and you still make that relationship work. And that's just as deadly of a relationship because you guys are constantly before the media putting out this white supremacist propaganda day to day, hitting up the house moms with this mess. And you don't challenge one of the top female members of the dominant society that's a part of the oppressive class. But you're talking about Van Jones playing footsie with Trump, which I agree, he was doing some of that. And Van wanted us to confuse the good work he was doing with the prison system with all that extracurricular stuff that he was doing with these white supremacists. My point with Van Jones is, yes, the work that you do in the prison system is good, but some of the numbers that Van was throwing out, he was crediting and making it giving the impression that they had to do with that being from Trump, when in fact this is coming from almost 25 years of work that you've been doing, Van. Not only that, Trump deported and tried to deport a whole bunch of black immigrants. He called their nations S-hole countries. He called black folks in America black athletes, referencing their mothers as sons of bees. We know he called for the murder of innocent black men in terms of the Central Park Five, formerly called Central Park Five. And then when the forensic evidence and when they were exonerated came out, he still didn't apologize. We know he's literally, not figuratively, literally the son of a Klansman. We know he has anti-black and racist policies. We know that the real estate company he was connected to with his dad was so racist that one of the most racist administrations in recent history, the Nixon administration, they the ones sued Trump's family. And Trump and them paid them millions of dollars. What does that tell you? Then Trump's own family members, his own niece, came out and talked about how racist they are and how they use the N-word all the time and all the racist and criminal stuff that goes on in their lives. Another Trump told you this is what we do, this is who we are. Are y'all understanding me? So this is crazy. And we're not getting ready to get in the middle of these black Blvd brothels. We got work to do. We're trying to build amongst ourselves. Y'all hear me today? And it was you, Van Jones, 4 years ago, more than 4 years ago, when it was clear that Trump and them was going to win, you're the one that practically broke down and cried again on CNN almost, talking about how it's a white backlash, because you were sitting there saying how the whole panel talked about all the other reasons for which Trump was elected, but you rebuked them and you said they talked about everything but the race issue, and the reason he was elected was because of white backlash. Now y'all trying to say, well, all them people that voted for Trump wasn't racist. Look, I don't want to hear all of that. It might be 2 or 3 black people in that group that might not be racist that voted for Trump that was trying to utilize a strategy and punish the Democrats. But most of America, North and South, were still racist, and most of both the North and the South still overwhelmingly wanted slavery. The North was fighting against slavery not because the majority of Americans or the majority of Northerners were moral and righteous people. They were jealous of the political power and the economic power of the South. Slavery was making the Southerners rich, and slavery, the Southerners, even though they didn't treat blacks as human beings, they were going to try to count them as one for political purposes. That's how they end up coming up with the 3/5 of a human being, so that they would not get disproportionate advantages politically. Abraham Lincoln, who you guys get so excited about, talk about the Emancipation Proclamation. When you look at it, it has its limitations anyway, and it was tantamount to an executive order. He's on record as saying that if he could have saved the Union without freeing slaves, he would have. So he freed the slave as for political expediency to disrupt the success of the South. Talk black to me. Y'all make sure that you join my weekly mastermind, clubvicki.com. This is the top spiritual group on the planet, and we're just getting started. Clubvicki.com. If you join today, clubvicki.com, clubvicki, Vicki is how you spell my name. The information should be either tagged or pinned below this in the description box or pinned. Clubvicki.com. If you join for the first 30 days for $1, you can be a part of Club Vicki, and you can also participate in my upcoming 2-hour masterminds for my dear sisters. I'm getting ready Saturday, February 13th, 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to do a course called The Secret Money in Your Womb. Ooh, it's going to be good. See, we women, we manifest differently from men. And there's a secret power that we have that we must activate. Go to clubvicki.com, join today, and you'll have access. And there's also going to be information on my Instagram page posted on how you can join another way as well. Vicki X Dillard is my Instagram page. Follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard, Vicki X Dillard, and you will see a video about this upcoming secret money in your womb. You don't want to miss it. Go today to clubvicki.com and join. Love you. Thank you so very much.